So this beast is the Amstrad 8060 boombox from the early 80s. As far as I can tell, these were sold exclusively in Dixon's in the UK, and they were £179 back in the early 80s, which is a lot of money. Now, Amstrad were known for their budget electronics, and this is no exception. Basically, the whole thing is made of plastic, but surprisingly, 40 years later, it still works. Now, this thing has seen better days. It does have its problems, which I will go over in a moment. So, on top here, we have twin cassette decks and all your controls in the center. But this thing's main party piece is it has a built in turntable. So, that was something that was pretty rare at the time. Was probably its main selling point. Unfortunately, this one plays slow on either speed, 45 or 33, and I have had it apart. There was an adjustment screw on the bottom of the motor, but turning that right up, it still doesn't play quick enough. So I never looked into it any more than that, and because it has so many other problems, I never really bothered to investigate it any further. When this was new, it had smoked covers over the tape deck, which you would manually lift. I think they actually opened this way. This is where the hinge would have been. Yeah, so there was a smoked cover that you lifted up and then you put your cassette in, which is a bit of a strange setup because if it's set up straight, you have to reach over it to get your cassette in, and if it flipped right down, then it would be easily broken off, which probably explains why it's missing on both decks in this. But surprisingly, both tape decks do still work and work strongly. Good fast forward and rewind on both of them. Headphone jack here. Of course, we have the huge carrying handle and twin antennas, which are still intact. Along the top here we have our power indicator, which moves with the music, volume, balance, tone, and your mic mixer because it has stereo mic inputs. Power switch, phono, tape, FM, medium wave, long wave, beat selector, mode selector for mono or stereo, and your mic on and off. A little funky graph printed on it there. Uh, your tuner for your radio, and the tuning knob, and again the graph on the other side. And it has pretty unusual shaped speakers for a boombox. Normally they were round, but these are oval, as you can see. And the turntable, which again is all plastic. It does work, but it just runs slow. Maybe if I applied a bit of grease or oil to the moving parts, it might give it enough to pick up its original speed again, but like I said, I haven't actually gone that far. This thing weighs an absolute ton. I have no idea of the weight, so I'm not even going to guess. But even without batteries, this thing weighs a ton. I picked this thing up about 8 years ago. Bought it off a guy for a tenner, just because I thought it was so cool looking. And yeah, I've had it ever since. So a previous owner has hacked a switch into the power cord and that's because the power button doesn't work anymore. So if I flick this switch, it brings the power on. And another thing is when you flick the power on, this capstan spins constantly. No matter what you do, the power switch doesn't do anything anymore. But even if you put it on the phono or radio, this capstan is still spinning. The one on the other side doesn't. So there's obviously some sort of internal issue there. But this tape deck does still work. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it, but when it's powered on, it has a constant hiss. It's on tape mode at the minute. Put it on the phono, it's still the same. Put it on the radio, obviously the radio will play. That's for the volume up. So I'm guessing that's because that capstan is spinning, so this head must be live, which is where the hiss is coming from. And it does it no matter what you have it on, so it's slightly less there with the putting it on the phono. You can hear it comes back again with the tape, so that's what I'm guessing. This head is constantly live because it thinks it's playing. Just to give you a look around the back of this thing here. There's the battery compartment, and it looks like it takes 8 C cells. Yeah, 8 or 10. Yeah, it says on the sticker there 8 HP2s, which are C cells basically. Or is it D cells? I think it's D cells. I have provisions for external speakers, and it can run off a 12-volt power supply as well. And there's a switch here for external or battery power. And in this compartment is where you would store your power cable. You can roll it all up and store it in there. But because this has that big switch on it, obviously it's not going to fit in there. And it's possibly a date code there, 10th of 11th 82. There's no external inputs on this apart from the microphone inputs. And I don't have any royalty free music on cassette, and I don't have the connections to plug in anything into here, so really I can't show you this working without getting a copyright strike. I'll try tuning in the radio here just to give you something to hear. This thing does crank. It's pretty loud. I've no idea what the rating for it is. If I can find that out, I'll put up an annotation here. But yeah, that's the Amstrad 8060 from 1982. Going by that date stamp on it. Pretty cool beast of a thing. And really glad I still own this. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.